Hello, I am the Lady Miss Vagina Jenkins, and it is time for Queer Astrology. In these next couple videos, I am trying something new. One thing that I am trying new is I am trying to record during the daylight hours of my neighborhood. Before I was waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning to do videos because I live in a downtown area and it is very loud here. I wonder if you can hear that, for example. And yeah, it was great to have somewhat quiet hours, but it was never really quiet enough. And I just was losing a lot of sleep waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning to record videos. So I'm trying something different. Recording during my daylight hours with my little DIY soundproofing, and we'll see how it works because we are about centering one's capacity and prioritizing one's health over the needs of capitalism, right? So yeah, that's one thing that I'm trying new, and a different thing that I'm trying new is making content as I care to make content rather than as content is scheduled. I had a whole list of like 70 something videos. There were all like variations on a curriculum, and they were all scheduled to the T, and I found no joy in it. So these videos are meant to represent me and the joy of following my curiosity. And this week's curiosity is a question that my Instagram friend Tesseractivity sent me. They ask, does a person's astrology change year by year? Like, would it be new information if you get a birthday reading each year? And to that I say yes. Kind of. Let's talk about it. I very much recommend that people start their journey with astrology with a natal astrology reading, and that just basically is the snapshot of the sky at the exact moment and from the perspective of the place that you were born. It's like your energetic blueprint. What might happen in this person's lifetime based on this set of energies, right? Then you develop. You develop in yourself, your personality, your energy, the things that you desire and don't desire. And then you also develop in terms of aging, and you develop in terms of moving around. So as your age changes, there's a couple of ways that we can look at this. As your age changes, you experience different profection years in astrology. And a profection year basically just means that if there are 12 houses that make up your natal chart, each year will be devoted to a different house. And then what is the sign associated with that house, and what is the planetary ruler associated with that sign? So for example, you're a Taurus rising and you turn 30. And that means that you are now in a 7th house focused profection year. So 7th house, what are the themes of the 7th house? The ways in which we relate to others. Yes, that can be romantic relationships, but it can also be all kinds of one-on-one connections. Your best friend or your work spouse, that kind of connection. But how do we center ourselves in our relating to others? That could be a theme of the 7th house. And then if you're a Taurus rising, that means that 7th house is going to be ruled by Scorpio. And so then we might expect some scorpionic themes with your 7th house profection year. The uncovering of secrets, power imbalances might be a theme in your relating to other people. So some of those scorpionic things might come up. And then Scorpio is also ruled by the planets Mars and Pluto. So could there potentially be, for a Taurus rising, seventh house year, could there potentially be conflicts, Mars activation? Could there be deep moments of like transformative internal change with the ways in which you want to do relationships or in a particular relationship? All of these things might come up in your seventh house year if you are a Taurus rising. You could even look for, okay, where is Mars and Pluto in my natal chart to tell me where those energies might be activated, and what is the transiting, what is Mars and Pluto in the sky right now on my birthday have to say about how it's interacting with my chart. So profection years are one thing that you could look at if you're looking at, this is the astrology of my birthday, you know, as the years go by. So yeah, on your birthday, you could get a profection year reading where we look at, you know, what is the house that is in charge for this year? What are the signs associated with that house? What are the planetary rulers associated with that sign? That kind of thing. So that's all profection year related stuff, and that changes every year on your birthday. You could also look at a solar return chart. It is literally the chart of the moment where your sun has returned exactly to the degree it was in when you were born. However, everything has been shifting since that moment that you were born. Return charts, there's a couple of things I like to focus on. I read them pretty similar to a natal chart, but I also look for where the light is in the chart. Where's the sun? Where's the moon? What houses are they in? What can that mean about what is getting its shine on this year, if that makes any sense. And then I also like to look at the four angles, the rising, the descendant, the midheaven, and the IC. I want to know if any planets at all, especially the light, are they close to any of those four major angles, and how could that determine some things that might pop up for the person in this new year. And then we have another tool that you can use, and this doesn't need to be on your exact birthday, like a solar return chart. A progressed chart is how have all of the planets changed since your birth. So the solar return focuses on how has the sun changed since your birth, whereas the progressed chart looks at all of the planets in your chart and how they have shifted since your birth. You can run a progressed chart on any day of the year, and it basically tells you how you've progressed, literally how you've grown. You know, at the moment of your birth, this particular placement was here and it has shifted this much, and what can we note in terms of development by how much that planet has shifted. So while the solar return chart is the chart that is cast on your birthday at the exact moment that the sun returns to the place where it was when you were born, the progressed chart is more of a progression. Literally, the sun moves 1 degree for every year of your birth. And so how does that change your chart? If you were born as a 12 degrees Pisces sun and you age 30 years, that moves that Pisces sun actually into Aries kind of region. So what does it mean to now approach the world in this Aries sun kind of way? And then what happens with the rest of the chart? How have all of these other planetary placements changed in that 30 years of your birth? I like the solar return chart for talking about what might come up in this discrete year-long period that starts with your birthday, your new personal new year. But I like the progressed chart for measuring the distance that we've come to show the ways things have developed since you were in your larval stage into your adult stage. Yeah. Also, transit charts that you can use. Literally, you can run your chart on any day of the year and compare your natal chart to what's happening in the sky at that moment. For example, say you have your natal Mars in Pisces, but right now in the sky, Mars is in Virgo. So that would be directly opposite of your natal Mars. And so how can you find the balance in this opposition in terms of Mars type things like your energy levels or your aggression levels or potential conflict? Depending on what houses these placements sit in, what can that mean in terms of basically finding the balance in your Mars placement versus what's happening in the transiting sky. And finally, I'll also add that there is the tool of Relocated charts. It's basically taking your birth time and birth date, but putting that in a new location. This can be really helpful for people who are thinking about relocating, like what would my chart look like if I actually lived in Seattle versus Denver. It's also a really important tool to use if you have moved, to understand how your energy has changed with that move, and to understand that you aren't the exact same person as you were in a different place. Places, times, dates, transits, yeah, all of this affect us differently. So yeah, these are just some of the brief things that you could look into as you're thinking about, oh, it's another birthday and I would like to understand a little bit more about my astrology. This goes back to a video that I made in my first 3 videos, which is like talking about all of the ways in which you can use astrology. These are some of the ways that you can focus on your natal astrology. But there are so many things that you can do with astrology. So yeah, I hope that answered your question, Tesseractivity. If anybody else has other questions or content ideas, definitely put them in the comments below. I'm always open to hearing about it. And yeah, let me know also about the noise level, if it felt too distracting or anything like that. Let me know about that as well. Like I said, this is a new thing I'm trying out, so wish me luck. Thank you so much for watching this video and for making time for queer astrology. Bye.